MMA Weekly with fan favorite, everybody's favorite, Yves Edwards. we're kind of at your, I'm not saying this is your favorite place to hang out, but you know, a nice restaurant here, hanging out, talking the stuff.
Yeah, this is a buddy of mine. I came here, and then one of the cool guys at Fox turned me on to this place. So we came here, we had lunch, and now we're hanging out.
In LA, you just made the move.
In Hollywood.
Not too long ago.
Hollywood's right here. Like, yeah. I'm not pointing in the general direction. Hollywood is right outside the door.
The stars on the street.
There's a star right there, outside the door.
Now, tell us about the trip. You know, you've been in Texas forever.
It was in Texas forever, and it all came because of the thing with Fox. I reached out to Joe Silva and I was like, hey Joe, is there an audition or some kind of tryout for an analyst position? And he was like, yeah, let me give you these email addresses. So I emailed Craig Massari and the guy that runs Fight Pass. I don't remember his name off the top of my head. Mm-hmm. But Craig Massari, Zach Candido, who's, I guess he's Craig's right hand, he emailed me and set me up with an audition. Did the audition. They said I killed it. I feel like I did horrible, but I was so excited about it. They said it was good, and they offered me a deal, and I was like, cool, this is awesome. I get to talk about fights instead of working out fighting. And then my wife, the reason we came out here was my wife. She was like, how are you going to do that from Austin? I'm like, well, when they need me, they're just going to fly me out there and use me and then send me home. She's like, well, if we lived out there, they'd use you more. I'm good at it. So she found a job out here. So she's putting all the pressure on me to be good at it.
But tell us about, I mean, as a fighter, how important is it to have somebody that supports you, and then even afterwards, like your wife making the move with you?
Yeah, they put the music back up. It's a big deal because it's everything, man. I mean, especially if you're going to be part of a team, you need the whole team to be on the same page, right? So her wanting me to do my best and to get the most out of any exploit I attempt, that's a big deal to me. I really appreciate that, and I got to make it work.
Does tell us about, does she like being in LA? Do you like being in LA? How different is it?
It's different. It's a lot different.
Do you have a story?
I got plenty of stories.
Yeah, tell us your funny moving to LA, being introduced to the LA culture.
You know what? I've been out here a lot of times for training camps. I would come out here and train in Wildcard, go down to Body Shop, train with McKee and those guys. Half the time I would go to Florida and train at ATT. But just being out here and not being a fighter, an active fighter anymore, it's completely different, man. I love the weather. I love the city, first of all. Things are a lot more expensive, but there's potential to make more money out here too. So that's a big thing. And I couldn't tell you, I couldn't say one thing that was my would you ask for my one moving story?
Yeah, give us a funny story of coming out here.
A funny story about coming out to LA.
By the way, his look at that. That is hot and ready.
It's hot.
You better like start eating that right now. We don't want that to melt.
We don't. They gave us 3 spoons. You guys want some?
Oh yeah. I'll have some after this.
If there's any left.
If there's any left. The world viewing Yves eating his delicious dessert from the what's the restaurant here, Yves?
33 Taps.
All right.
That's awesome. Hollywood Boulevard and Sunset.
And you live right close to here.
I live
right in the thick of things.
I live here in Hollywood. I'm not gonna tell the world exactly where, but I live pretty close to here, and it's a fun time. No, but that's one thing I like about Hollywood. See, I grew up in the Bahamas. This place reminds me so much of a lot of different places that I've lived. I grew up in the Bahamas, and the ocean is like right there. It's colder than the Atlantic, but it's still right there. I can get there anytime I want. But then you look this direction, and there's mountains. You can drive up a little bit and go to the mountains any day you want. You can go like an hour east or 2 hours east. There's some desert. There's everything around here, and I really like this place, man. I like it a lot. And then driving through these neighborhoods in Texas, almost everything except inside, in Houston anyway, except inside the city, and Austin, inside the city. Once you get outside the city to the suburbs, everything is cookie cutter. Here, it's not like that. You drive through these neighborhoods in the city, and even outside the city, it's not cookie cutter. You see one house and it has like, the architecture is like German. Then another house is like Spanish. Then another house is like modern. So that's pretty cool, because that's how it is in the Bahamas. My grandmother's house, her house is green.
A greenhouse.
Next to hers was her sister's. That when her sister died, she adopted her kids and she took over that house, and she needed all the space. That house is pink. The house next to her is blue. Right? In Texas, every single house is brown. Brown. They ain't even different shade of brown. Brown. It's like whatever color the one house is in front. You see one house in Texas, you see them all in a neighborhood now. So it's just little things like that remind me of different places that I've lived. The ocean reminds me of home in Florida. The hills, not the mountains, but the hills remind me of Central Texas and Texas Hill Country. The homes also remind me of the Bahamas. The desert, just being able to go out there reminds me of some time I spent in Texas.
So you go to the beach a lot here?
I've been out to the beach quite a few times, man. It reminds me of being at home. I'm a water baby. I gotta be out there. I love going out there. And then my wife, she'll force me out there too. So she's the world champion of my house still, so I still have to listen to what she says.
So tell us about the transition going from a fighter to a broadcaster. Is your wife glad you're getting out of the house now? She doesn't have to deal with you as much?
She's glad that she started working. She doesn't have to deal with me as much. But yeah, no, it's a lot of fun, man. It's not something I thought I would ever do. It wasn't something when I was fighting that I was like, okay, when this is over, I'm looking forward to trying out for an analyst job or something.
At the time, it really wasn't an option back when you started fighting.
It wasn't an option until I emailed Joe Silva. I never even thought about it, but fortunately it worked out. I live in the moment a little too much, and I never saw myself not being a fighter. I thought I was going to die in the cage. You know what I mean?
Literally?
Not in the cage, but before I was old enough to not be in the cage. And now that I'm not, getting older and trying to accept being retired, it helps to be doing something else but still be involved with fighting. I was telling Dominic Cruz one night, we were talking, and this is almost as good as fighting. It's so much fun, and it doesn't hurt half as much. You know what I mean? So that part of it is cool. I really enjoy it. I only watch football and fighting. If I'm not watching like a superhero movie or one of my shows, really all I watch, the only sports I watch is football and fighting. So I get to still watch fighting and football, and I still get paid for fighting. So I'm okay with that. I'm good.
It sounds like a good thing to transition to for sure. So tell us, what are you most excited for about this upcoming fight? Which this fight will be your most busiest schedule on Fox, won't it? For you personally, as a broadcaster?
Yeah, it will be. But I want to tell you I'm most excited about the title fight with DJ and John Dodson. But then I'd feel bad. We'd leave and then I'd be like, yeah, but Arlovsky's fight there. You know what I mean? That was a title fight from back in the day. And both these guys have risen up the ranks again to be contenders again, to be viable, to be guys in a co-main event. They could headline any other card in the UFC right now. And then Paige Van Zandt. versus Alex Chambers. I think Paige is a superstar in the making, man. Then there's Paul Felder and Ross Pearson. Those are those 4 fights right there. Oh, and then Anthony Johnson and Jimmy Manuwa. Those 5 fights are the fights that I'm personally most excited about because I like watching Paige fight. I want to see her versus Alex. I love watching Paul Felder fight, and I love watching Ross Pearson fight. John Dodson and DJ. I mean, if you're a fight fan, you like that.
Right.
And there are tons of people out there that's like, oh, they're 125 pounders, I don't really care. But if you like fighting, if you like technique, I love watching those guys fight. And then Mir and Arlovsky, man. Mir is he's turned it around. I remember when Frank Mir didn't like to get hit. He would get hit.
Right.
You can tell he didn't like getting hit. He just stood in front of Todd Duffy and then just all right, you want to throw bombs? We're gonna throw bombs. We see you when everything blows up. We see you still standing. You know what I mean? So that's another fight. And then he's still got his ground game in his back pocket. So if it does get down there, it's still going to be entertaining. There's a lot of good fights, man. And then Jimmy Manuwa and Anthony Johnson. Yeah, Anthony Johnson, he's a national champion, JUCO wrestler. The guy doesn't even shoot takedowns. Jimmy Manuwa doesn't really shoot takedowns. If this fight hits the ground, they're probably just going to get somebody slip and they're going to get back up. You know what I mean? So this is going to be pretty exciting. That's going to be a pretty exciting fight. I'm excited about this card, man. I'm looking forward to it. And I haven't even talked about like Francisco Rivera and those guys.
What do your kids think about seeing you on TV?
I think my daughter loves it a little more than my son. My son is indifferent. He's like, yeah, my dad's on TV. Can I play on the PlayStation? My daughter, she loves it. She's so excited. I love when she's proud. You know
Do you like wearing suits? What do you prefer, a suit or fighter shorts? Or is that an unfair question?
That's kind of unfair. Not completely unfair, but kind of unfair.
Well, what's more uncomfortable, the
do?
fighter shorts with the cup or a 3-piece suit?
I wear my fighter shorts and my cup underneath my suit.
Okay. Good answer. Good answer.
It's true. So, just in case, like one of the other analysts decides they want to throw down, I'm ready at all times. All times.
Are your hands
Dominic
wrapped?
Cruz, Kenny Florian. I'll take on Rashad. Black Zillions versus ATT in the studio.
I'll know you're serious if I see your hands wrapped during the broadcast.
I may do that. I don't want to hog this whole thing, man. I'm like going to keep going through it. You want some of this?
Well, yeah, we may have to help him out, John. All right, Yves Edwards. We look forward to seeing you.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Scott.